sacrificed his own son Isaac. Okay, so that's one point. When King Solomon, 1,000 years later, fast speed, it's like a Quentin Tarantino movie, we're gonna go back and forth all the time. Okay, King Solomon comes here, builds the first temple. Where does he build it? Exactly the location of where that golden dome is. Now, how crazy is that? That the third holiest place for Islam is on the location of where Abraham almost sacrificed Isaac, and where the first temple was built. That first temple is destroyed. Great, I'm so happy you remember, by the Babylonians. We just spoke about them now. So see, we have a link that's connecting the story to every stop. So you guys are getting the bigger picture. So this is my my bracket remarks, is that when you build your story, you want to make sure that it speaks to the station before and after. So when you prepare your oral exam, make sure that you know exactly where you're going, and that you say something that will give a little intro to the next place, and when you're in the next place, talk about something that reminds you of the old place. Okay, it sounds like rocket science, but it isn't. It's very simple to do. Close brackets. So, that first temple was destroyed by the Babylonians. All the Jews are exiled to Babylon. Only a few of them come back. This is when the first Zionist movement starts. The return to Zion starts, almost 80 years after the first temple was destroyed. They come back and they rebuild the second temple. Where do they rebuild the second temple? Great. Exactly where the first temple was. It's a scrawny little building. Not really much was put into it. Until the next group of Jews who are stronger come here, and these are the Maccabees, right? And they renovate the temple that was decimated by the Greeks. Not getting into that story, this is where you can start. There are talks about, you know how it's like moms, when you talk to your mom and they start talking and then they remember something and then they remember something and they forgot about what they were talking about. Don't do that as a parent. Okay? Focus on what they were talking about. So back to our topic. And
don't be mommy, guys.
Don't be mommy. I'm already doing that to my kids. Then, remember when we were talking about that other king, King Herod, who was a huge builder? He comes here. He comes from Rome. He sees this scrawny little temple. Now, understand, Jerusalem is the focal religious point. On 3 times a year, Sukkot, Passover, and Shavuot, we have almost, at that time, 250,000 Jews coming to worship here from all over the world, which means all the areas of the Mediterranean. You have people coming from Cyprus, from Egypt, from all these areas of the world, and they're all coming to here. Herod sees this place, he's like, what is this temple? He's Roman. He needs to bring something Roman. So he destroys this little temple that's up there, and he builds a platform. So let's use our imagination for 1 second right now. Mount Moriah. Okay, there was a temple on the mount. Until today, we call it Temple Mount. The temple on the mount. Ha-Habayit. Okay, very interesting that today, for ever since the 7th century, there are Muslim buildings on there, but until today, we call it Temple Mount. Muslims do call this also Temple Mount, Habayit, Haram al-Sharif, right? Okay, so this is more of like a lingo that we talk about. So you can see that I'm a Jew. Very simple. So imagine a shoebox. Okay, you know what a shoebox looks like, right? So imagine like Herod takes a shoebox and puts it over that mountain. Get that imagery? Okay, here, come here. Give me your hand and do this. Okay. I need 2 free hands. Who has 2 free hands? Here. Okay, do like that. Okay, so this is the mountain. Let's do it like that. This is the mountain. This is one wall. Okay, come here. Put 2 hands over here. Come here. Okay, just involving the group in your explanation. Okay, and here you have Temple Mount. So if you take off the platform over here, which is as big as almost 12 soccer fields, and you take off this wall, and this wall, and this wall, you have Mount Moriah left. Okay, so you can, you are Mount Moriah. So anyway, you can involve the group in your explanations too. And so the wall that we see here is basically a segment of that massive platform that Herod built in order to create a situation where you have enough people to come and worship. And just because I love this book, I think you should all buy this. It's very helpful for guiding, and I'll show you why. It's very old. I don't know if they still sell it. Okay, so now we're looking at the Western Wall. Here's what it used to look like, and here's what's left, okay? Pass it around. Okay, this is where you're always involving the group. You see what I'm doing? Always bringing the group inside. So the Western Wall exists. So, when you ask a Jewish person, what is the holiest place for the Jewish people? They'll tell you the Western Wall. That's not true. The holiest place for the Jewish people is where the temple stood. And the temple stood where that golden dome is. And in that area where the temple stood, the Beit Beit Mikdash, the temple was divided into different segments. One of them being the Holy of Holies. What was in the Holy of Holies? The Ark. And what was inside the Ark? The covenant. Okay? So that was the holiest place. But ever since the temple was destroyed, Jews are not allowed to go up to Temple Mount because you don't know where the temple was. You don't know where the Holy of Holies was. So because that area of Temple Mount where the Golden Dome is so holy, Jews are not permitted to go up there. I'm a Jew. I used to guide the Temple Mount when it was open in the 1999, 2000. Although they were open, you can bring tourists, buy tickets, go into the museum, go into Al-Aqsa Mosque, go into Dome of the Rock. That was all around until Intifadat Al-Aqsa in 2002. Okay, so that was available for you guys in the past, just so you know. But I'm a secular Jew, but religious Jews do not go up to Temple Mount. So they go to the side, or some of them don't go up at all, or some of them just go to the side. So what was left for the Jews, also because Temple Mount has a different faith on the top of it, what the Jews were left with was the Wailing Wall that was closest to where the Holy of Holies was. So it's the holiest place right now because the Holy of Holiest places is not available for the Jews. And so it's just a part of the wall. Now the Jews will say that the Western Wall is the only thing left from the temple. But it's not true because it's not the temple and it's not the only thing left. It's part of the fortification of that shoebox that I was talking about, and all those walls that still exist. The Western Wall is 480 meters long. All we see is maybe 60, 70 meter strip. But if you look at that side, that's all part of the same wall. And those of you who have the book, you can see the Robinson's Arch beginning. You can also show that to the tourists. Okay, so it's just explaining the structure of Temple Mount, and that dissolves a lot, right? Gives you a lot of information of what this whole thing is. Now, the temple was destroyed in the year 70 by the Romans. Again, the Jews rebelled, the Romans came, they destroyed the temple, the same story all over again. And the temple was never rebuilt. So in the year 70, the temple is destroyed, and only in the year 600, and when did Abdul Malik build 691 was the first one, and 720 was the second one. And only then, imagine that gap of years. How many years was Temple Mount left in its destruction? 600 years. This is prime real estate. Why didn't anyone want it? This is where Christianity comes into the picture. Jesus prophesizes the destruction of the temple. He stands. Remember, we're looking at Mount Olives and we saw Dominus Flevit, which is Efosh Adon Bacha, where the Lord wept. Why is he weeping? Why is he crying? Because he's crying for the destruction of Jerusalem. So he prophesies the destruction of Jerusalem. So in the year 70, the temple is destroyed. And then the Romans are here, and they're pagans. They probably built some kind of a temple to Jupiter on Temple Mount, or Venus. Jupiter was the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Venus, I think they're fused between them. And Aphrodite. I told you. But when the Christians become powerful in the Byzantine period, they built the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Basically, what they're saying, this is the new temple in town. Christianity prevailed. Jesus' prophecy came true. The temple was destroyed. So there was a theological purpose to keep Temple Mount in its destruction. Because for the Christians, it was proof that Jesus' prophecy was right. So when the Muslims come here, we talk about the past from where we're standing today. And today, where we're standing today, there's conflict between Israelis and Palestinians, and the Christians love the Jews so much, so we kind of look at things from where we are today. But in the year 640, when the Muslims come here, okay, they're driven by a faith that's based both on Judaism and Christianity, the Old Testament, the New Testament. And when the Muslims come here, there's an amazing place over here. And so they build their buildings based on the Muslim tradition about the night journey, where Muhammad goes on Al-Buraq on a night journey to a place called Al-Aqsa, where he ascends to the heavens and has a negotiation with God, with Allah. How many prayers must a Muslim have a day? He comes back with 5. And that is where the Golden Dome is. The Golden Dome is a place that the Mansiach Irua, I'm Hantzachah.
Commemorating.
It commemorates a moment.
Thank
It's
you.
not a mosque. It's a commemoration of that moment when Muhammad ascends to the heavens. And it's not a mosque. The mosque is Al-Aqsa. Al-Aqsa is right